All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're going to completely deconstruct something you literally interact with every single day: money. By the time we wrap up this journey, the way you look at your bank account, your time, and your life goals, it's going to be fundamentally different. To kick things off, I want to pose a question directly to you. What do you think is humanity's greatest invention? Just think about it for a second. Maybe you're picturing the discovery of fire, right? Giving us warmth and the ability to cook. Or perhaps you're thinking of the wheel, the actual driving force behind early trade and travel. And, those are absolutely excellent choices. But there is one foundational invention we almost always seem to forget. The twist here is the answer is money. But here is the kicker. Unlike the wheel or fire, money is completely immaterial. It's quite literally an illusion. Its value is entirely non-existent. It's determined solely by the importance that we collectively agree to place upon it. So to figure out how we all fell under this collective spell, we kind of have to peel back the layers of history. I mean, we started out with the barter system, trading, say, cows for shoes, which was just incredibly inefficient. To fix that, we moved to commodity money. We started using things everyone naturally wanted, like salt or animal skins, and eventually shells. Then, by 770 BC, China created the first scarce bronze coins. And at that point, money actually had intrinsic value. But as global trade expanded, lugging around heavy metal became a massive burden. So ancient kings began issuing paper IOUs. And eventually, people just kept trading the paper and pretty much forgot about the gold entirely. And this evolution ultimately brings us right to where we are today: fiat currency. Now, fiat is basically just a fancy Latin word that translates to "let it be done." It means the currency's value is decreed by the government completely out of thin air. You see, rulers realized a long time ago that if they disconnected money from physical gold or silver, well, they could just make more of it whenever they wanted. Now, you might be thinking, so what? Well, this illusion has massive real-world consequences today. To put this into perspective, in just a recent 18-month window, driven mostly by global economic shutdowns, the U.S. government printed a staggering 40% of all the U.S. dollars currently in existence. 40%. When you print money out of thin air way faster than you produce goods, you get inflation. So every single second you store your wealth purely in fiat currency, your purchasing power is quietly being devalued. But while the concept of money might be an illusion, the lack of it is brutally real. Let's look at the actual real-world spectrum of wealth, starting right at the absolute bottom. Extreme poverty means living on less than $2.15 per day. Imagine playing a video game for the very first time, but it's locked on ultra-hard mode and you have absolutely no equipment. That is extreme poverty. It's a constant, agonizing uphill race against time just to secure basic food and clean water. As we climb up the ladder, we hit the middle tiers. The lower middle class are kind of like gamers who are absolute experts at min-maxing, budgeting super tightly just to afford the basics, maybe with a tiny bit of wiggle room. Then, the middle class sits in this Goldilocks zone. Not too rich, not too poor. It's comfortable, sure, but you're usually just one bad business risk away from trouble. And then the upper middle class enjoys the best of both worlds. They might have a premium gym membership, but hey, they're definitely still keeping one eye on the grocery store sales. Now, as we shift into true wealth, the entire mindset completely flips. Being affluent means having a financial cushion you can actually sleep nicely on without constantly panicking about inflation. But being upper affluent, that cushion turns into a luxury mattress. At this level, you aren't just buying things anymore. You're hiring financial advisors to do the heavy math for you. You're investing in exclusive experiences, and you're engaging in philanthropy. Money basically stops being a day-to-day stressor and becomes a tool for true life enrichment. Then we get to the absolute highest tiers, where the rules change entirely. A millionaire essentially has a giant 7-figure piggy bank of assets. A multimillionaire sitting with 8 or 9 figures, well, they make life decisions purely based on passion rather than necessity. And the billionaire? Think about it this way. If a millionaire's wealth is like owning a fancy sports car, a billionaire's wealth is like owning the entire racetrack. Seriously, it would take you thousands of years to spend $1 billion if you were spending $1,000 every single day. So, how do self-made people actually reach these upper tiers? What's the secret? Well, the secret is that they use a completely different formula. The flawed equation you're taught in school is that money equals time multiplied by an hourly wage. But time is a strictly finite resource. You literally can't work enough hours at $20 an hour to become massively wealthy while you're still young. The true wealth equation, it's money equals scalable problem solving. Because here is the harsh reality of wealth building. The market pays in strict proportion to perceived value and replaceability, not hard work. Think about it. A cleaner physically exhausts themselves every single day, yet earns far less than an accountant sitting comfortably at a desk. Why? Because the cleaner is unfortunately easily replaced, while the accountant holds specialized, perceived value that saves clients thousands in taxes. The market rewards high-value solutions. Okay, so here are the actual mechanics to leverage that equation. Step 1, listen to the market and find a widespread problem that frustrates people. Step 2, build a scalable solution, and listen, it cannot be tied to your personal time. You've got to think software, an online course, or maybe a franchise. Then, step 3, automate and delegate. Actually, let me emphasize this. If you charge $100 an hour to teach yoga, you haven't built wealth. You've really just disguised a job as a business. You absolutely must scale beyond your own hours. But acquiring the money, that's not the final boss here. Keeping it is. You could have $10 million in the bank, but if you're spending it recklessly, like Jordan Belfort in The Wolf of Wall Street, that is just an illusion of wealth. It's a massive bonfire that burns out quickly. True financial wealth is all about quiet discipline. It's the modest couple who maybe never earned more than $75,000 a year, but through forced savings and compounding, they retired with a $6 million legacy. Their capital grows faster than they withdraw it. Now that is a steady flame. So what happens after you acquire the money? Does it actually make you happy? Researchers did this fascinating psychological experiment where they gave people a $10 Starbucks gift card. Some were told to just go spend it on themselves, and others were told to take someone else out for coffee. The results were crystal clear. The people who spent the money on others experienced the highest levels of personal fulfillment. In fact, science shows us there are basically 3 proven ways money actually buys happiness. First, as we just saw, investing in others. Second, investing in experiences, like traveling and learning new things, rather than just buying more stuff. And third, buying time for yourself. This means using your capital to outsource the tasks you absolutely dread, like cleaning or accounting, so you can reclaim your most precious, finite resource, your time. Ultimately, true happiness requires the complete separation of your self-worth from your net worth. Take the story of an elder named Joanna, living over on the Greek island of Ikaria. She possesses virtually no material wealth at all, yet her life is exceptionally rich. It's completely filled with community, purpose, natural movement, and family. By all accounts, she is a multi-billionaire in life fulfillment. And I think that really brings us back down to earth. Because as one profound perspective puts it, there is no truer definition of wealth to me than family and health. And no sports car, vacation home, or balance sheet can compete with that. When you finally peel back the illusion of fiat currency and you look past all the complex equations of building a scalable business, you realize that money is ultimately just an enabler. I want to leave you with this incredibly profound yet brilliantly simple statement by Nick Murray. He said, "Wealth is love. True wealth is having the time, the health, and the freedom to dedicate yourself entirely to the people and the passions that matter most to you long after you've stopped trading your hours for a paycheck." So, as we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to ask yourself this final, absolutely critical question. Look closely at your daily habits, your endless hustle, and your long-term goals. Are you just building a bank account, or are you building an exceptional life? Keep that thought with you today.